second grade Quest for Less. I'm Debbie Anderton. I've been teaching for about 17 years, and 9 of those years, I'm in my 9th year currently here at A.L. Otts Elementary, and I've been teaching second grade for about 5 years. Today we're going to talk about problem-based learning, and problem-based learning focuses on several things. First, it's real-world problem solving. You present to your students a real problem that you would like them to solve. Secondly, it's student-centered. All the activities are going to center around the students. You're not going to be a sage on the stage standing at the board teaching. The kids are going to be actively engaged. You're going to be going around to the groups, talking with them and asking them any questions so that they find the answers. They have to have flexible thinking when they do problem-based learning. This is so that as they explore the topic and they read continually, that their thinking changes as they progress through the project. What they thought at the beginning of the project won't necessarily be how the project ends. It's cross-curricular. True problem-based learning is going to address different subjects and different standards in all the subjects. And that just brings me to standards. This problem-based learning unit is all based on Tennessee standards, the current standards. And today we're going to focus on the Quest for Less, which is all about recycling. So you can see I've added some pictures up there of recycling and the 3 R's. Why a Quest for Less? Okay. Why did I pick this? Well, you may remember, as I remember, the staff meeting was in October or November. For the Building and Grounds Committee stood up and said they had pictures and pictures and pictures of trash that had been put in the recycling containers, and they seemed a little frustrated about that at the time. And so that kind of struck a chord with me. Then in the fall, later in the fall, I had the privilege of teaching an after-school enrichment program called Power Up with Technology, in which the students were going to create a short video. And so I suggested to the kids, well, maybe they should create videos about things that students at Lotts need to know, like going through the lunch line, about recycling, because that had come up. And lo and behold, the 4th and 5th graders who were in the group did not know what was to be recycled. They were actually showing the wrong things in the video. So that kind of inspired me, well, you know, if the 4th and 5th grade don't know, how are the 2nd and 1st grade? And that kind of raised the question, do the teachers even know? Then I went back and I looked at our curriculum and I realized, well, 2nd graders need to learn about healthy environments. That's actually part of our health curriculum. And then these are the standards of the unit. The student will recognize environmental practices, products, and resources that affect personal and community health and promote healthy living. The student will gain understandings about scientific inquiry, and the ability to conduct inquiry are essential for living in the 21st century. That's your science strand. The student will understand that all life is interdependent and interacts with the environment. Already this year in 2nd grade, we've already been talking a lot about animals and how animals are interdependent, how plants and animals relate to each other and those relationships. And this will continue to build on that. Now we bring in the humans. How do humans impact the environment of the animals? The student will gain an understanding of how communities depend on each other for trade, money, and resources. So the problem that I posed to my students was, how can we help the citizens of Lotts Elementary become better reducers, reusers, and recyclers? Aren't they a great looking bunch? This is my current 2nd grade class. In my current 2nd grade class, we have all academic levels, and I have 4 ELL students, and I have several with IEPs also. Now, when you do a problem-based learning unit, you want to make sure that you have individual accountability. And one of the ways that I hold my students individually accountable is that each student is required to maintain a science notebook. This section should include recorded notes, data, reflections, and then the science notebooks are evaluated using a rubric, or notebooks. And then we have the table of contents, and then the children are accountable for putting all their diagrams and things into their notebooks. So I'll pass that around so you all can look at it. And then there you see a picture of a science notebook. Now, science notebooks are in the Common Core standards, if you did not know that. That's part of the Common Core writing, is that they're required to collaborate and research and then maintain like a science notebook is one of the examples. For the Quest for Less, going back to the Quest for Less, the students will begin with a KWL chart. I just felt this was a good, solid starting point so that I would know where the students were, where they were in their knowledge, and how I would need to proceed to guide them to find the answer to the problem of helping ALOT students become better reducers, reusers, and recyclers, also known as the 3 R's. They keep hearing me talk about cooperative learning and collaborative learning. The students work together to build their knowledge. And then these are just some ways you could organize your students in groups. Having a question leader, a materials manager, a problem solver, a timer keeper, and a voice controller. Those are just, you could pick 2 or 3 just depending on what your groups are going to look like. But that's what I use for this particular unit. Now, the materials manager is a little harder because they're responsible for the iPads in my room. So they're the ones that do all the touching on the iPads. Again, students will work collaboratively to build their background knowledge with research and through hands-on activities. Part of the Common Core is that they need to learn to answer the questions: who, what, where, why, and how. So the students will read different texts. They'll use trade books. I have some displayed in the back of the room if you'd like to look at them after the presentation. Read websites, look at digital media, look at all different things, and they need to be able to answer those questions and summarize what they read and pull out the important information. And again, the teacher will continue to encourage them with the guided questions as they explore the topics. Now, in today's world, technology plays a vital role in authentic problem solving. Because when I have a problem, and I've talked to other people, when they have a problem, what's the first thing they do? They go to the internet, do a search, okay? So in reality, that's what our students are going to be doing too. So it's real important that they have access to up-to-date information and not just go into the library to check out that book that might be 5 or 10 years old. It's not going to have the latest research. So up here you see a list of websites the kids could go to research this topic. BrainPop, you're all familiar with, has several videos on it. WorldBook, my students aren't using that so much as an encyclopedia, but as they're using the dictionary part of it to look up what the terms mean. Down below you see the ISTE. ISTE is the International Society for Technology and Education. ISTE their job is to promote technology and education and the integration. And you'll see some of their standards and their goals. After the students have done research and used a variety of materials, we still want to incorporate the hands-on activities, because that's what helps the kids connect it to the real world. Making decisions about trash is an experiment that they would do, record in their science notebook, and then what they do is they would carry their trash around for the day. They would take a bag, and they take their trash, and they carry it around with them, and they collect their trash for the entire day, the evening. Then the next day they come back and they sort through their trash. What is recyclable? What could they do with these things? How could they reuse some of them? Then another activity that I picked out was making paper. Having them actually make the paper so they could see how something could be taken and reused. Now there are other hands-on activities that I have listed. If you picked up the handout, I had a handout over here. That's actually a total copy of the unit, because I'm not going to be able to address all the activities today, but you can go ahead and look through this, and it has additional activities. Two more science experiments that I thought would be important for the children to learn about was the natural escapade, and I really like this one. This is a picture of A.L. Lotz Elementary. The kids walk around the building and they find the different habitats around the building, and they pick out which animals would live in that habitat to make them more aware of the life around them. Then, what can oil do to a bird's feather? Again, how do we as humans impact the environment and the wildlife? After the kids have done all of these activities, they've done the reading, and they're beginning to take shape, and they say, oh, you know, I have the perfect idea, Miss Anderton, how I'm going to share this with the school. They're going to create a video, a public service announcement, which they will present to the Building and Grounds Committee, because it's important that when you're doing real-world problem solving that you bring in the experts to the kids. They can meet with experts, talk with experts, and then they get to present their ideas to the experts. And then hopefully, eventually, they'll get to be on the morning news. Now I have an example here of what a public service announcement might look like. Go ahead and stop that. And we can help our students to become responsible, caring citizens by doing problem-based learning and teaching them about real problems and having them help solve the problems. And thank you for coming today.